across Florida, Georgia, and the southeastern United States, and also the rest of the country, Europe, South America, anyone in the Caribbean and Central America that's joining us. We want to welcome you to the Florida Soccer School live series that we're putting together during this difficult time. First, I think it's important for us to mention that our hearts go out to everyone affected by the virus. And especially New York, the Northeast. We have a lot of friends and ties up there. Also Italy and Spain as well. We hope everyone that has been affected has a speedy recovery and is healthy soon so we can get back out on the field. Special thank you to nurses, doctors, techs, first responders, anyone helping at the front line, keeping us safe, keeping people healthy, and while we're here at home, doing what they can. So a special thank you. Everyone appreciates it. Also, Florida Youth Soccer Association and Georgia Soccer have been very instrumental in putting this together and getting the word out, so we appreciate it. We want to welcome your membership and whatnot. So here we are, a little bit about the Florida Soccer School if this is the first time you're tuning into us. Every Tuesday, we're putting together a live series for players to tune into. The Florida Soccer School is a company that specializes in elite education and instruction for players and also coaches. We have some of the highest rated, if not the number one rated camp in the Southeast and Florida. Everyone we bring in is a collegiate, pro, and national team coach. We have day camps, overnight camps, and whatnot. So we really specialize and push the issue at video analysis, film review, tactical analysis. This is an extension of it. We want to provide the players listening. Okay, we can't be on the field, so we can't do this right now. So we want to provide the players listening, and parents for that matter, with an opportunity to learn from really good people. So this is no different. We're here on our live call. First, it's important to tell you that both players are Florida, Clearwater, homegrown guys that grew up in the system that you guys are currently, or girls are currently in now. So they grew up in the United States, played their youth soccer. If I say football, it's the same in the United States. So first, Ben Sweat grew up in Palm Harbor, Florida, played for Oldsmar, okay? Also played for Countryside, which is now Clearwater Chargers, then moved on to the Clearwater Chargers, went from Chargers to University of South Florida in 2010, was one of the longest, had the longest starting streak for the university, games played, was drafted 14th by the Columbus Crew. After he went to Columbus, he was loaned out to the Dayton Lions. From there in 2015, he left the Crew and went on to sign with the Rowdies. He played 2 seasons at the Tampa Bay Rowdies, went on trial with New York City FC, ended up doing really well. They liked him. They signed Ben, and New York City FC is where his career took off. He was then a year later called into the senior national team for the United States, played against Colombia, Peru, and then shortly after, in 2020, a year or two later, was taken #1 pick in the MLS supplemental draft by Inter Miami. So Ben Sweat is now on Inter Miami, and he went, from just a youth player in Florida, just like you guys, and now he's one of Inter Miami's main guys. And Ben is a left back for those watching, very technical, that likes to get forward. Alongside Ben today on our call, we have Wesley Charpie, not too far away from Ben. He grew up in Tarpon Springs, played at HCU, a club that changed a few times, turned into RSL, so he played then for RSL. And then from RSL, Charpie went to the Clearwater Chargers. From the Chargers, he went to USF a year after Ben. So Ben went in 2010. Charpie went in 2011. They played together. There was a lot of overlap. It was one of the best. So Ben was one of the better left backs. Charpie became one of the better right backs, and it was a really nice tandem if you were able to see the South Florida games back in the day. He also notable, he had over 20-plus assists in his college career, which as a defender really is telling of his technical ability and attacking skill. In January 2015, he got drafted in the MLS Super Draft by Toronto FC. He went to Toronto too, which is common for a lot. I mean, almost regularly now you get drafted to the MLS, and you almost certainly go to the USL. So he was with Toronto too for a few years. He then went to St. Louis, then to the Jacksonville Armada, to Memphis, and now he's at Louisville City FC. Interestingly enough, he's changed his position in his senior career from a wingback to now a center back, which is also very interesting. So he's made a change very late in his career, and he's really enjoying playing at center back. So both of you guys, welcome. Thank you for joining us, and we really appreciate you having you guys. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to play a little bit of a game, so the players at home can get to know the guys. Ben, you're up first. We're going to play. I'm going to give you.
All right, let's go.
I'm going to give you 3 seconds to answer the question, and I have the questions right here. Ready? Favorite musical artist?
Stick figure.
Real Madrid or Barcelona?
Barcelona.
Beckham or Zidane?
Beckham.
Good answer. Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi.
Messi or Neymar?
Messi.
Sweat or Charpie?
Charpie.
Mendy or Robertson?
Mendy.
Sweat or Mendy?
Sweat.
Love it. Favorite movie?
Step Brothers.
2020 Champions League winner?
I don't know.
Pass. Favorite hobby outside of soccer?
Fishing.
What's the biggest fish you've caught recently?
Probably a big old snook, big old 30-something inch snook.
Oh, wow. City or Liverpool?
Ooh, Liverpool.
Do you TikTok?
I do not TikTok.
Okay.
Don't TikTok, kids.
Charpie, you're up.
All right, I'm ready to go.
Okay. Favorite musical artist?
Bay Ledges.
Real Madrid or Barcelona?
Barcelona.
Beckham or Zidane?
Zizou.
Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi.
Messi or Neymar?
Messi.
Charpie or Sweat?
Sweat, baby.
Oh, you two. Come on.
Yeah, we got good.
Godin or Sergio Ramos?
That's a tough one. Ramos.
Okay. Charpie or Sergio Ramos?
Charpie.
Favorite movie?
Joe Dirt.
Joe Dirt. 2020 Champions League winner.
I feel like football's been so long ago now. I almost forgot who's in it still. I'm going to go ahead and say Manchester United. That's my team. They're not even in it anymore, but I'm going to say them anyways.
Okay. City or Liverpool?
Liverpool.
Favorite hobby outside of soccer?
Surfing.
Surfing. Love that. And then do you TikTok?
I do not take TikTok.
Okay. Thank you guys. Charpie, you were almost the winner by default, but then you chose Manchester United on the game, so we call that one a draw. Ben, you're on Inter Miami. We're going to talk about both of your youth careers because I think that really will resonate with the players at home and they can find a parallel. But you're at Inter Miami, so I want to ask, we had someone on Instagram message us, have you met Beckham? Is he a cool guy? And does he ever jump into training?
Yes, I've met Beckham on a few occasions at dinner, at trainings before the games. Very cool, laid-back guy. And no, he has not gotten involved in trainings yet. I'm thinking that it's going to happen at some point this year once we get in a little rhythm, once we get back in the season. But so far, not been able to put a tackle on the old Becks.
Okay, you have a lot of gear in the background, Ben. What is all that?
Yeah, no, it's just I got I told my hobby is fishing. I got a little fishing apparel brand. Nothing crazy, just some hats, some t-shirts. if you go check out my Instagram page, there's a link that leads to it. So if you guys want to give it a check out, feel free.
Okay, cool. So right now we want to talk about youth soccer. Most of our audience are youth players, boys and girls watching, their parents, and then probably coaches. Talk to us about when you started playing. What age did you realize you were pretty good? Obviously, we know you guys spent a lot of time with the Chargers, but you were at clubs before that. How long when did you start, and then when did you guys realize you were all right?
I think like most kids, I started, 4 or 5. But in terms of getting competitive, I think when I was 7, 8, 9 years old, when I started to get with Oldsmar, Outlaws, Countryside Lightning, that's when I got really serious, traveling, doing tournaments. And then once I got to the Chargers, I had Peter Menino as my coach, which, he was a huge mentor for me when I was younger. And then getting into the older age group, I had Garth Clementis, who's, my most recent mentor, my club days, that's when I really, they kind of took me under their wing, showed me what it's all about. It takes, in terms of sharing, his past experiences and, going through the Charger days and the development academy, I was able to, move to college, and then from college to professional. So it was a step-by-step process, a learning experience, on every level of play. I'm still learning as a 28-year-old professional heading into my 8th year. So there's always something new and some new details, something new to learn and latch onto.
Charpie, same question. How old were you when you started playing? When did you realize you were pretty good, and kind of go from there?
I started playing at the age of 4, and at that time it was for my local team in Tarpon, and it was rec soccer. And I think I always had the competitive edge at a young age. I remember maybe I was getting a little too frustrated at that age. I didn't know how to channel my energy in the right way, but I always wanted to win games. And I think I always had a little bit of an athletic edge over people at that age. So very early on, I think I was really determined to be successful. And I always loved the sport from early on into, still playing now, thankfully. But similar to Ben, it's you're learning every day. I'm still learning the game now. And I think when I got really, really serious in the game is as you get a little older, you start to get on teams when kids grow up and whatnot. I think when I moved to RSL at the time, and the coach was Ian Monroe, he, I've been lucky to have a lot of good coaches. I was with Garth, with Ben at Clearwater, and I can't say enough good things about him and both of our developments as players and as persons. But I think I really started to take it serious at RSL. We're starting to get older. It was becoming a little more challenging. Things weren't as easy. Players are starting to, get a little bit bigger and whatnot. So I would say, I can't tell you the age of Coach D, I forgot, but I don't know, maybe 10 years old? Yeah.
And then this is, I think, important for everyone watching. And then also, I'm curious, were you guys always the best on your team? Did you feel like you were, that? So, Ben, did you feel like you were always the best on your team? Were you always given the recognition, or did it take a while? When did you, you're at Inter Miami right now. You started it as a Florida soccer player. When did that happen, in your career? Was it consistent? Did it stay the same? Did it change?
No, it changed, and I could start. I remember being on the Oldsmar Outlaws. I was without a doubt the best player on the team, but then I moved to a bigger club, Countryside, and there was a few more better players. And then I go to Clearwater, and there's even more better players with the same aspirations as me, trying to go to college, players just as athletic and physical as me. And to go along with what Wes said, I had a competitive edge and desire to me. So I wanted to compete. I wanted to be better. I wanted to be the best. And that's been the same since, joining Columbus Crew, going to the Tampa Bay Rowdies, New York, Inter Miami. I've always been wanting to be the best for every team I've been on, but I've always wanted to be the best in my position in the leagues I've been in. At USF, I wanted to be the best, left back I could be in college soccer. So it just goes along with my competitive edge, and I want to be better than everyone else that I can compete against in my position.
Charpie?
Yeah, So for me, I feel like there's been most of the teams I've been on, I haven't been the best player, in my opinion. There's been many kids even growing up to now that are a lot more technical, just natural ability. But I think maybe why I guess I've had a successful career, college into professional, is just like Ben can say the same thing. Is we're really we try to do the little things right. We're really consistent. So you might have a player on your team that might have more skill than you, but if you're someone that does all the little details right, shows up in training, puts in the work over a long period of a season, you might be looked at as almost a more valuable player than the quote-unquote technical player or the best player out there. So I definitely not. Earlier on, I would say yeah, but most of my career, there's been definitely more technical players in the youth academies that I've been at or up to now, and yeah, so that's my answer to that.
It's interesting because going to South Florida, you were one of the best players around in the state of Florida, right? So to hear you say, wow, maybe even during my youth career I wasn't one of the top guys, once I went to the bigger club, I think is important for the youth players to hear, and it sounds like that motivated you, that desire to be the best, but also thinking you weren't motivated you to keep working and to keep trying to get there, right?
I remember we were having a conversation yesterday, and for me, when I actually first joined Clearwater Chargers with Coach Garth, who was there, and that was Ben's final year at Clearwater, and coming in, it was a very good team. That year they had a lot of players that went on to play Division I soccer, and I didn't start for half the year. I was struggling, and Coach Garth at the time was like really annoying me as a coach, but in a good way, because you're frustrated as a player because you're not starting. So that was me, just to think that at that age, right before college, I was experiencing that, and then I kind of pushed through that to go on, have a good career at South Florida, and then play. I think a lot of younger guys right now watching can possibly relate and stay positive to where, like, even if you're not starting at the moment, if you just keep on putting in the work and trust the process that you're doing every single day, like, you'll eventually break free in some kind of way and you'll get your success. So I think that's a good little story to hopefully help somebody out there.
Ben, have you had any moments like that? Obviously, sorry.
No, I could relate to that. I've had a lot of moments like that. My first 3 years as a professional were, I go from getting, being a top college player to getting drafted in the first round to barely making some of the 18s. And then getting let go the following year, having to go down to NASL to the Tampa Bay Rowdies to get some games. And, I go from 2015 to being a starter to 2016. Signing a new contract to sitting on the bench and not even making the 18 the following year after being a starter. So I dealt with it in some of my youth, but having to deal with that at the highest level, the professional level, it was difficult, to have those ups and downs, especially after having started and done well. You have higher expectations and you have newer goals from that, and it was very difficult. But you keep working. You put the bad days behind you. You push through it, and you're only going to make yourself better as a player and as a person. And that's something that a lot of players don't do nowadays. They tend to throw in the towel a little too early, rather than realizing they gotta grind it out. Not everyone has an easy path. Everybody's path is different. Everything happens for a reason. I truly believe in that. And my path was a little harder than most guys to get where I am today. And I have zero regrets, and I'm happy to have gone through with it.
Was there anything specific or any one person? Obviously, you guys have great families, great parents, but is there anything? Was it an internal, just that you wanted to win? Because what I'm hearing is the tough times. Maybe when things weren't going your way all the time, that's maybe when you challenge yourself to be better. But it's like you said, Ben, easy to just say this isn't for me and throw in the towel. But what kept you guys going? Is there anything, any one person in particular, a group of people, anything in particular where when things weren't going your way, you were able to lean on someone or whatnot in order to, keep going?
Yeah, I think for me, I don't want to interrupt Ben, but I think for me, I haven't been around, I guess, youth players these days coming up, and I think Ben had these like little mini failures, if you want to call it, and it's just those little moments that can test you, and some people might look at it as a negative, or I think for me, when anything like that would happen, it would motivate me more. It would make me want to put in that extra work. If I wasn't playing, I remember one kid I used to play with, Kevin Paul, he was on the U17 national team growing up, and we would come 45 minutes early to training every day to ping the ball, whatever we needed to work on, because we were obsessed with getting better and, putting your brand out there. And I think whenever I had some adversity in my career, it just motivated me to become better. And it's important too, I think, if you're going through those struggles, not to, if you're not starting, maybe not rubbing your teammates the wrong way or talking bad about a coach. I think that's a good time to look at yourself in the mirror in a positive way and maybe work on yourself and put in those extra hours. So I think that's my motivation for me personally. I don't know, Ben, you probably can agree or say something.
Yeah, no, 110% I agree with Wes. And for me, it was an internal drive. I always knew I deserved more. I wanted more. I always knew I always felt I should be starting with how hard I worked, my mentality, my mindset. And if I wasn't starting, I'd be really frustrated, I'd be upset, and that would lead to me doing extra work, putting in extra work day in and day out. And I was fortunate at the time to be with my wife in Columbus, my current wife right now. I met her in Columbus, and she was a huge shoulder for me to fall back on. And she was there through the tough times, and she got to see me go through the tough times, ups and downs, from my first 3 years as a professional. And she's got to see me come out of that and rise up to my 3 successful years in New York, and now a successful start to my 2020 season with Miami. So that was great to have someone experience that with me. But for me, it's always been an internal drive, because I've known I wanted to be the best I could possibly be. I've known I wanted to represent my national team at some point in my career, and I always made sure I put in the work before, during, and after trainings for that.
Did you guys have to give anything up? Football, soccer takes up a lot of our lives as players, as coaches. Did you have to give a lot up? Has it been worth it? And then, so that's maybe a quick question. And then as well, your favorite memory you have looking back at your club days.
I'll take this one first, Wes. You have to sacrifice a lot. If you're gonna get to the top, you gotta not stay out late some nights. Not go out with your friends one evening. For me, during my days at USF, I remember I wanted to spend my summers playing soccer, whether that was a PDL or traveling to Europe to get a European experience by training with teams. So I gave up a lot of free time and a lot of free days, to occupy my mind with just football, because I knew I wanted to get to that next level. But on the other side of it, it is important to have a good balance, a healthy balance between soccer and personal life, and enjoying your hobbies, like I enjoy fishing or Wes enjoys surfing, because your life can't be all football. It's mentally, it's refreshing to get out there and enjoy time with family and friends, of course, but I try to find that balance. It's important.
Yeah, I would agree with Ben. I remember a funny story when I was in Clearwater, playing with Garth, the head coach. We had just a simple training session, and I had my school homecoming. It was a big dance, I think it's something you look forward to. And I was telling him, like, hey, coach, can I miss the training and all that? And he wasn't having it. He just that one training session, he wanted me to go there. And I ended up going to training, I missed it. But that's just a little story. And all I use about what it takes to be successful in anything in life. You're gonna have to sacrifice, and I don't want to say you're gonna have to sacrifice to the point where you're never going out. Like Ben said, you gotta balance your life. But the point is, in the game of football, you look at kids across, in Europe, they don't get prom, they don't get all these kind of
outdoor stuff that we thankfully have here, which is good. But, they're doing just that much more to become that much better. So I think it comes down to your determination, your will, what you want to be as a player. And, like we've talked about it, the more you put in, the more you enjoy it, the game's going to give it to you back. It always does. So, it's important to keep yourself level-headed, knowing when you can maybe go out with your friends, knowing when you need to get some sleep because you got to train the next day. Like, it's an everyday process. Being an athlete is like an everyday balance. So just remember that for anybody watching, for sure.
So next question, still club-related, transitioning a little bit to the college game. What part of being a club player really prepared you for the college level? And then was there a big jump in the college level? Was there not? But what part of those club trainings and the games and the practices and the extra work on your own, helped you be prepared for the college game?
For me, I think being with the Clearwater Chargers, being one of the first teams to experience the development academy, it was a huge step for club soccer, because you have teams who all the players are good, all the players have college aspirations. So the training sessions were at a better level. Your weekend games were at a better level, really competitive, and obviously going to these showcases, you're playing against some of the top players, top teams in the country, and you're doing it in front of hundreds of college scouts. So you got to experience a crowd. You got to experience some nerves. And for me, that was just preparation to get ready for a college level, because that's what it's exactly like at college. You're at the college level, then you start playing for professional scouts. You know what I mean? So it was a good experience playing at being able to play in the development academy and get all those experience with those talented players.
Yeah, I would agree with Ben, because I think we were both in a similar situation with Clearwater, playing there before our start of our college career. And like you said, it was really important to get in that environment, playing against college coaches and playing against good competition, see where you sit. So I guess I won't talk too much on that, but I think for anybody watching going into college for the first time, I think it's important to go with the mindset of, to go in to really listen and just focus on working, because if you do that, you'll get respect from your older teammates quickly. Your coaches will respect you. Talent will be recognized. I'm sure there's plenty of guys who are watching this who are more talented than Ben and I at your age. But yeah, just going there with the mindset of you might be on a good college team, whatever it may be, but there's still so much work to do. So your first couple of years, just, definitely just listen to some older, more experienced players, like I still do now in my career. And yeah. I think that's what I was saying.
So that's interesting, because you identified almost the maturity of a player, where when you think you're the best, the guy thinks he's better than you and stops putting in the work you do and stops doing the things you do. All of a sudden, maybe he's not as humble, doesn't respect everyone around him, and then maybe the game passes him because he's not as hungry and whatnot. So that's really. Do you want to talk more about that, either of you? Because that was a really interesting point.
I'll start for sure. Actually, I think Ben would agree. There's a time right before college when everyone's starting to commit to their schools. You would see a lot of people drop their level of competition because, I committed to SMU, UCF, whatever the school may be. When I just think that's just a completely wrong mindset. You haven't even been to the school yet. You haven't started. You're still developing, you're still trying to get better, because what you do right now in this moment is going to continue to make you progress. So I think it's important for you to just stay level-headed and know that, the work doesn't stop. It never stops. It never will. It's always a grind. And no matter how far you're going in your career, if Ben plays till he's 38, he's still going to be thinking he hasn't made yet, because once you do, you just get swallowed. You get swallowed up, as real as it is. But so I think I'll say that.
Yeah, 110%, Wes. That's, I still see that nowadays with college kids coming, on preseason with us. They were the best college player in the country. They come to preseason and, they think they think they made it, they think they've earned their spot, and that's not the right mentality mindset. And I think every level has a maturity level, and some players, take it well and take it the right direction. Other players, may not do so well with it. And, if I could give, any advice, it's to go in and to earn your place, your spot, your respect. Whether you're going from club to college, the college team, they might know who you are because they, you sign with them, but they're not going to know who you are. You got to earn your place, your respect, and going from college to professional, nobody in the professional world is going to know who you are. So you pretty much restart, and you got to make a name for yourself. You got to work hard. You got to earn the respect of your coaching staff, your players, and you got to do that with every team you go to. Every team I've been at, I've been a new player, so I've had to earn my place, my spot, my respect within the first few weeks. And once that happens, you can really enjoy the game and blossom. So it's an important mentality and mindset to have to want to always perform and do the right things when you're a new player, especially. Because the coaches are going to pay attention to that. The players, older players, are going to pay attention to that. And that's how you kind of blend in with your team.
That's it's interesting. At the Florida Soccer School, we complement the club, so most of the players that join us, they're highly motivated. They're there to work. They know the quality of the staff. Since I've left the college game, I see it a lot at the youth game, even at the U12, U11, U13, U14. You guys are referring to U16, U17, U18. The behavior you guys talk about, it's really important. And for the younger players out there that are 10, 11, 12, 13, exactly what they're saying applies to you. I have a tough one. If you had to choose over, okay, if you had to pick a university again, would you guys still have picked South Florida?
For me, 110% I would went to South Florida. I'm a Florida guy, born and raised. So having the luxury to go home on the weekends or have family and friends there and have the ocean there right on my back door, that was a huge winner for me. Obviously the university itself, and to go there with a lot of people and friends I knew, it made my college experience and career a lot better.
Yeah, I would say 100% as well. I really enjoyed my time at USF. Ben was my roommate. We have a lot of good times together on and off the field. Coach D and the whole staff there at the time, we recruited a lot of, it was a very diverse group. So it was cool for me to go from like the Clearwater Chargers into playing with guys from all over the world. And, being in that locker room, it was a lot of fun. And yeah, I loved it.
So what at USF maybe helped prepare you to be a pro? Obviously, from having a chance, the pleasure to work with you guys, I know your habits and whatnot, but what part of being South, because if you were to pick it again, that means it was beneficial for you, right? So what part of your college career can you say really helped you? Obviously, we played at a really high level. Is there anything that you did there that really prepared you to maybe catch up to guys that maybe were ahead of you, or maybe push ahead of someone in the country battling in the same spot?
The first thing is the locker room. We had 15 to 20 different nations all in one locker room, and that's something you experience at the next level. So you're having to communicate with guys that speak different languages, different cultures. You're going to have a starting 11 with maybe 10 or 15 different countries on the field at the same time. So it's that's the same thing you experience at the professional level. The communication part of it, and then obviously having George Kiefer and you guys as a staff, you guys were hard on us. You guys made sure we were respectful. We worked hard. And we were punished if not. We would run if we didn't. And that was something that's always stuck with me and made me work hard and made me respect the love of the game. And it was a really good environment. It was a tough environment, and that's how it should be. That'll give players the realization of what the next level is like at a certain extent.
Charpie, you were one of the guys, for the players at home that are with us and parents, you were one of the guys, and Ben, you were the same, but before the game started, we would do our warm-up. Before the warm-up, you were already foam rolling, or you were already stretching, or you were doing something in the gym just to get ready. And then after the cool down, you were the same guys that were last to continue to do that. And that wasn't just a game. That was training. We had to kick you guys off the field sometimes because we felt like you were doing too much extra work. How important is that extra work and that dedication and those details? Because you spoke about details earlier, but I didn't want to, jump in. How important are those details? And if you're doing it and Ben's doing it, did you feel like that culture is contagious and you can kind of learn that behavior?
Yeah, I think it's very contagious. I would say, when it comes down to it basically comes down to habits coming in. Like you look at guys like me and Ben and other guys as well on that squad who ended up being very successful in their careers. But, before the game ever starts, it always comes down to the training. So I would come in, have a routine basically of foam rolling, getting your body ready, which ultimately gets your mind ready and makes you more calm in a training session. And that, of course, translates when it's game time. You do the same exact thing because it's, what you do in training, 100% translates to the game. So it's so important in training. If you can fit in that extra work, you do it. If you need to work on your left foot, your right foot, you need to work on crossing a ball, it's so important, especially at a younger age, to get that in. It translates big time. And that's what I did at USF. I mean, you remember Coach D for sure. Just foam rolling all the time. I made fun of it for it. But I didn't care because it helped me out and it made me perform well. So that's all that mattered.
Yeah, no, I mean, Wes and I, we were always the guys that, wanted to do stuff before, during, after, as much as, as often as possible. And, for Wes and I being outside backs, we would stay after trainings and hit, 40 to 50 crosses. And then we would show up in the game, we'd get in the same situation and scenario, and we would put a ball in. And we get a goal off it. You know what I mean? So how you train is how you play. It all coincides and translates. And it's those little details. It's working on that left foot, working on that right foot. It's taking extra time to take care of your body. Foam rolling, stretching. The nutrition, hydration is super key. Especially playing in Florida. I'm having to really cautious myself. Take preventable stuff, to make sure I can perform at the highest level every day. And, doing that before, during, and after, it's only going to benefit yourself, but benefit the team as well.
It's really interesting that you mentioned routine, Charpie. So it's not necessarily the foam rolling is going to work for everyone, but you figured out foam rolling was good for you. Foam rolling would help you train better, be more relaxed. So you had a routine, like a recipe, that every training you did that, and that made you successful. So that was really interesting. And Ben, what you mentioned about left foot, right foot going out with Charpie was interesting because we were talking before about having our ups and downs as pros, as youth players. I mean, there were times where you weren't even the best youth player on your team. Charpie, you mentioned, I want to say, I remember back, it was when we were talking before the call, you mentioned it was your junior year. You weren't even starting with Garth's team. So I can connect now through this discussion, working with your left foot. If you're feeling down because you're not having success, and maybe you can reflect and say, hey, if I can be better with my left foot, then I'm going to be better off the next time. And it seems like you guys are self-reflecting, looking at what you're having success on. If it's not going well, instead of getting down on yourself, you're going out and you're working more. And I know I've seen you guys do that. It's really cool to hear you say that because there's a lot of youth players watching. So I think that's important for them. We're running out of time. We have, maybe 10 minutes left. Can we shoot to one question? Ben, you're on the national team, and you're on Inter Miami, and that's a really cool honor. I know I was at Raymond James when you got to play in front of Columbia. That was really cool for everyone. Were you and I know the answer already, but for the players at home, we think sometimes in order to be on the top team, you would have been on the national team every step of the way. What was the first time you were on the national team?
My freshman year of college, I was on U20s, and then from U20s, I was on the national team until 2018 when I got a call to the full national team. So it's not the case. There's always new coaches. They're always looking for a better player. So you got to make sure you're always performing and always playing at your best to get in that situation and scenario.
We got an Instagram question that got sent to us for both of you guys. Who is the best player you played against or with? So who's the best player you played with or against? Charpie, you want to take this one first?
Yeah, I would say the best player I played with is Sebastian Giovinco. I had the chance to train with him many times in Toronto, and he was just a different level for me. He came from Juventus, and for me, he was so good in like tight spaces. He'll get the ball from, say, Michael Bradley, and he'll know what to do with it way before he gets the ball. He was so calm, so technical, but he was also a ferocious competitor. A lot of those guys like Messi, like Giovinco, some people only look at them for their skill, which they have, but they're also just, feisty winners. They don't like to lose. And I would say him without a doubt.
For me, I know he was a little older when I played with him, but David Villa, he was 35 years old when I first got to play in the 2017, but the guy was scoring 20-plus goals a season in a competitive league, and he was one of our hardest workers game in and game out. And to do that as a 35-year-old, was an unbelievable example for me when I was 26, but for teenagers, low 20s, the youth, to see a 35-year-old like that work that hard, score that many goals at that age is unbelievable.
Okay, I want to get this one more question that we got sent to us in. How do your shoes work at Inter Miami? How do cleats work? Do you get the cleats? Do you get to pick what cleat you want, or do you have to buy the cleats?
Well, I'm fortunate enough to have a deal with Adidas, so I'll get boots of my choosing, once a month, every few weeks, whenever I want. And they'll send them to my equipment staff, and I'll have the luxury to have some nice boots, so I could rip them up and train hard in them.
So you have what do you mean equipment staff? You have an equipment staff?
So we've got an equipment staff, a couple guys, 2 or 3 guys, and they distribute the boots, and we'll have a whole wall with our numbers on them and all of our boots hanging on all the numbers. Go out, grab your boots, go to training. If you need more boots, go talk to equipment guys.
I would say I'm fortunate enough to have a friend like Ben Sweat, who's sponsored by Adidas, so I get some boots every time. I don't got a big deal.
I remember the days where we had to wear Under Armour at the university, and Under Armour, the shoes were not exactly what the Adidas and the Nikes were.
No, we have players like Dom Dwyer wearing Adidas, painting Under Armour signs on to get by games. Those were the old times right there.
Oh,
yeah, spray painting our boots black.
Yeah.
I remember doing it.
All right, let's say back to a question about football. What's your typical week look like? So at Louisville City and at Inter Miami. So Ben, your typical week of training. Maybe what does a day look like? What's your routine? And then how does it change each day? Assuming you have one game per week, let's say.
So I'll just go through a normal Saturday game match. So on Monday, we'll be can't be in no later than 8 o'clock. So show up or 8:30. Gotta have breakfast before 8:30, otherwise you get fined. And then from 8:30 to 10, you're open to doing treatments, hitting the gym. Sometimes the coaches will have individual video with you, and then you go out to training at 10. Train for hour and a half, come in, do more treatments, maybe more video, maybe have media, and then you have lunch at 12:30, and then after lunch you're free to go. And that's a typical day. In terms of trainings, the trainings go from a harder load Monday, Tuesday, and they start to get a lower load leading to the game. But we're typically doing video sessions, 3-4 times a week. if not more. And then a match on Saturday, and then off on Sunday.
Coach, you want me to talk about that as well?
Yeah, we'd love to hear the similarities, the differences, of course.
Yeah, it's pretty similar, to be honest with you. It's all clubs do it differently, but our report time is you have guys who are injured, so they have treatment at 8:15 a.m. And then the regular report time for everybody is 8:45 a.m. And if you're late, you get fined. And then our coach at Louisville, John Hackworth, he will meet with us and do basically a pre-training talk. With a lot of times it's with video about maybe a past game that you want to talk about, or a past training session. So he talks about that and what training session is going to look like. So it's kind of good for us to prepare our minds, before we go out there. Then we train at 10 a.m. just like Ben. We get back, and if you need to do treatment, you do that. If the physio there wants the team to do a little workout, we'll do a workout after training. And then, we have lunch as well. And then after lunch, you're good to go. So basically come in, do your work, and thankfully with this business, you get to have most of the day to do what you want. So that's one of the perks of, becoming a professional athlete, for sure.
You both had really good coaches. You've mentioned quite a few, and I think it's important. It sounds like it's important to you guys. You've had coaches, mentors that have really helped you. Is there a coach you haven't mentioned? Obviously, Garth Polonais, who's now in Atlanta. So for our Georgia audience, I'm sure Garth is tuned in right now, and he's also a Charger. But is there anyone besides, because Garth's name has come up a bunch, besides Garth, that's made a big impact, been a role model or mentor for you? Because ultimately, I think that's important and whatnot. So, Ben?
For me, this is always cool to say this, but I got to have Patrick Vieira as a coach for just about a year and a half, and to have a coach of that caliber, who was one of the best midfielders of his era, bring me in, want to sign me, want to make me a starter, want to teach me, and take me under his wing. It was something unforgettable, and I have him to thank to really boost my career. And I've learned so much from him, and as a player, and and as a person. He was a player, and he was able to relate to all of us players. So it was unbelievable what I took away from him in terms of the football aspect, but in terms of the normal life aspects as well.
Yeah, I would say I think I've been lucky with head coaches that I've had. Youth level, I've talked about it, but professional level, Coach Preki, I think he kind of sticks out to where his methods, I try to take as much as I can from every head coach that I've had. And he was a winner. He was very fierce with what he was saying and what he wanted. And I kind of related to that. I like when a coach is a little bit more tough on me. It's just I enjoy that. But I think in terms of like mentors as well, I really like to lean on players. Like if you have another guy, maybe if you're younger, an age group ahead of you, and it's someone who you can relate to in your position, or someone who you just like as a person, those conversations back and forth will really help you develop. And I think I got to Toronto, Justin Morrow, who's still playing there. He's a well-known left back in the league. Ben knows him as well. They both probably looked at the same in the league as in their position. He kind of took me underneath his wing. Anytime he talked to me, I try to listen and see what I can get from him. So those are the type of mentors I think that are helpful.
We're running out of time. We have a couple minutes left. We see a lot of players training on their own right now, given the circumstance, and I'm sure we'll be back on the field, really soon. What are you guys doing right now in order to stay sharp? We could hear, in a week we have to go, back into camp, and you guys have to go into camp and get ready and start the MLS season or the USL season. So what are you doing to stay sharp, and what are you doing, more importantly, that maybe someone at home could copy and learn from you and do that during this time?
For me, I'm an outside back, so that fortunately means a lot of running. So, no, and Miami's been giving us packets based on positions per week, and we've actually been working out together 3 times a week off Zoom, and then the other days you're doing fitness on your own. So we're still training 6 out of 7 days a week. Sundays are off day. So if anybody wants to hop in and wants to get some fitness in, I'll be glad to send you what I've been doing. It's a lot of running, but it definitely occupies a lot of your day, and so that's pretty much what I've been doing.
For anyone that wants that, contact Florida Soccer, and we'll work with Ben to get that to you. That way he's not inundated with people reaching out and that kind of thing. So Ben, we'll help you with that if anyone does want that. Sharpie?
Same thing pretty much. We have our strength coach who's been sending us packets to do for the week, and just like Ben, there's a lot of running, a lot of weights, but he's been trying to tailor it to where, because you have to work at home, there's no gym, it's current situation, so just trying to stay fit, and then also thankfully there's a park nearby that's open still, and no matter how, I guess, old you get in your career, it's still important to work on your fundamental details. So as weird as it might sound, the other day I was taking the ball up to myself and working on headers because I'm a center back. I just want to get more confident with it. So when it starts up again, I'll feel more confident when that, it's something that as simple as a header comes about. It feels more comfortable to me. So yeah, I think it's important to take this time to work on. You can work on anything. You can go outside, set up cones, work on your left foot. For a whole week, you can tell yourself, I'm only touching the ball with my left foot, and that'll do wonders for you to just be more comfortable on your opposite foot. So
you picked. You said you're a central defender, and you said you're working on heading. So you picked a quality or a technical skill needed that you're going to need. So you said, what position am I? What skill am I going to need here that I need to improve upon more, that I need to sharpen up? And then you said, I'm going to come up with a way, with whatever I have to go work on that. So that's really cool to hear. The staying fit part is important for sure, because that's the base. And then if we don't have our fitness base, then our mind can't do what we want it to do and take the decisions that we want. So that's pretty much that's going to wrap up everything today. That's going to be the extent of our call. Ben, I want to thank you very much for joining us. It's been great having you. We really appreciate it. We wish you all the best at Inter Miami and a great season. And if you're in Florida or Georgia, and you can check Ben out when he goes either to Atlanta United, Orlando City, or down in Miami, if you're there, please say hello to him, and I think that'll be cool. Sharpie, best of luck with Coach Hackworth, who's a great coach at Louisville City, and I'm sure sooner than later we're going to see you playing against Ben, and then I can say whose team, your team or his team. So thank you guys very much. For the players at home that joined us, we hope it was beneficial for you. The guys gave a lot of information, a ton of knowledge, some details for sure on how you can take what they've done to be successful. They spoke about work rate, their detail, staying positive, staying committed, being hungry, not letting their situation dictate what happens, what I think we can relate to right now, but also on our teams. They spoke about being humble. So there's a ton of things. Hopefully this was beneficial for you. Every Tuesday for the next 3 weeks, we're going to have live series for you to give back to the community. On behalf of Florida Soccer, we're here at home as well, so we're hopeful this was good for you. We're here to provide this for you because at the end of the day, we're all in this together, and we hope that this was helpful. So if you would like to join in, next Tuesday we'll have 2 more players on that are professional, I believe playing overseas. We're just confirming with agents right now. And then tomorrow, for any of the coaches that are watching, Brian Bliss, VP and Sporting Director at Sporting KC, will be on, as well as Bob DeCranian, who I've had the pleasure of learning from, who's my uncle, is in the United Soccer Coaches Hall of Fame, as well as been given the Lifetime Achievement Award for U.S. soccer. So hopefully, coaches, you join us tomorrow. Players, thank you very much for joining us, and we hope to see you next Tuesday. Everyone stay safe, and thank you again to everyone working to keep us safe on the front line. We really appreciate it, and I'm sure we'll see everyone soon. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thank you. See you.
Thanks, guys.